Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rebel Label podcast. As always, my name is Arii.Grove, and today I have with me
Glen Waco. I am 1/3 of the resistance with Rashid Jamal and Mike Capes. I'm also been involved in human rights activism with Don't Shoot Portland and my mentor, Teresa Rayford. Thanks for having me, man.
Perfect, thank you. So why don't you let the people know what you're doing, who you are, and what you're about?
I'm a hip-hop artist / human rights activist. I started in activism in 2014 with Teresa Rayford with Don't Shoot Portland. Before that, I've always been a hip-hop artist with recording. Started in Roosevelt in my high school, recording music in my music studio or the high school music studio out there in Roosevelt. And since then, I've been doing music with Mike Capes, Rashid Jamal of the Resistance, Fresh Tribe. That's our collective. And since then we've been having it rocking.
There you go. So you're originally from Portland then?
Yes, sir. St. John's.
Absolutely. So, something we talk a lot about on this program is how Portland has changed, And so how have you seen, especially the St. John's neighborhood, change in your lifetime?
The biggest change, off top, would be the traffic. When I came back in 2017, that really was I noticed it's a lot more people here.
Where'd you come back from?
With the gentrification, it just was crazy. So California. So I moved in 2016 to California, and then I came back this past summer. 2017 in the summer, and just coming back here, just more so, I seen a shift where it's just a lot more condos is going up. It's a lot more poverty spreading. It's a lot more homeless near the bridges and on the freeways on the side, and it's just politically, it's just a lot of I say police run the city like Gotham, and the mayor is useless. So it's I have a lot of friction with that whole aspect of the city. But as far as just the changes, I really see gentrification just being a decay of what our neighborhoods used to be. Our neighborhoods are decaying, but these new the identity of the neighborhoods are changing. So I see a lot of shifts in the demographics. St. John's, a lot of people that I grew up with move towards the Numbers, Gresham area. So there's a shift with that, but that would be the more so the number one thing I've seen change.
Now, you talked a little bit about conflict with the mayor. Where did that all start from? Is that from your activist? And then some.
Whether I'm I passion myself as a human being first, wherever the title is. It's just I just don't like corruption. I don't like liars. I don't like just when you're in a position to do something and you have a platform, you have the authority or the council to do it, and then you're more so going with special interests. My conflict with the mayor, honestly, is kind of like a passing of the baton from Charlie Hales. Because there's long history with Charlie Hales and activism. He used to always just sick the police out on activists. And when it comes to cases and police brutality, there's always been a standstill with addressing the issue. And they never have trouble or a halt with addressing gang violence when the root of that type of violence is directly rooted to how our environment is. And if we're looking to change that and we're looking to reallocate sources to the education system and just not throw these kids in prison, let's work on bettering the conditions of the situation so we're not breeding gang members to begin with. Things like that have been said to the mayors in the past, and it's just going in one ear and out the other, obviously. Yeah. So it's that's honestly my beef with him. When it comes to Quantas Hayes, that kid was killed by the police, and he pretended he didn't know what his name was on camera. And then they checked him on camera, and it's oh yeah, that was sad. That wasn't it. That was so sad. But it's bro, we just told you his name. And it's this just happened. It's big news. You're the mayor. You're the police commissioner, yet you don't have no solutions for our community.
Yeah.
So my beef is more so just trying to facilitate and help new ideas and new waves of activism of how to change the system to better benefit the people and not just special interests.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about the current police chief right now?
When it comes to Miss Outlaw, I never really try to directly go at her because I know the game that's being played right now. I think that she's, no disrespect to her, but she's the black face of the police department.
Yeah.
And I get asked about her from time to time, and what I always tell people is I just hope she understands what she's inherited with the police department, because they can put this black woman in front of the cameras and in front of the PR to say whatever. But if y'all are still having the same police officers on your force that's have excessive force history, that has racist history, that has just a history of just taking no accountability, a zero accountability,
Yeah.
then nothing will change just because she's black and she's a woman. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think that responsibility of really the situation falls on her shoulders. It falls
Hmm.
on the systems that
Everybody.
are already in place. Everybody, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, what do you want to see? Do you want to see more police actually getting taken to court? More legal action, or are you looking for more like a policy change within the police department to actually systemically change how they are interacting with people?
From being in the streets and being in the circles and in just the community and seeing what I've seen, heard what I've heard, I don't think that that's necessarily it. I think that it's just bigger. Like, all of this shit is connected. All of this shit is connected. From the education stuff to the gang violence to police brutality to the wages and capitalism. I see all of this shit connecting. So when it comes to what I want to see change, I don't
Hmm.
think that we should be expecting those that have already been in power to give up their power structure,
Hmm.
to all of a sudden just change the way this works and benefits them. I think that we need to replace those people in those positions of power and influence with people from our community that we trust,
Yeah.
that we put forth, not that somebody puts forth for us to trust and for us
Yeah.
to vote for. Until those seats are replaced with real human beings that actually are pushing our agenda, which is on behalf of the people, nothing will change. So I'm looking to get students more involved into the political spectrum, because I think that a long time ago, after they neutralized the Black Panthers, we really got taught to just like stay away from politics.
Hmm.
And all politics is, at the end of the day, is decision making.
Yep.
You're deciding how your community is governed. So with that knowledge, if you instill that in a kid of control your environment, control your community, have a voice at the table. If you're not going to have a voice at the table, build your own table, which is what we need to be doing on all aspects. So I want to see more people of color and from oppressed communities running for elected seats
Absolutely.
and taking those seats so we could take back power.
The fall of local newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And something how I've seen that negatively affect communities is local newspapers were like the foundation for local journalism, right? So you had the local newspapers actually covering what's going on with city councils,
Mm-hmm.
who's getting elected, what are the specific policies, all of those things, like what is happening in change, and how that affects local politics and just general knowledge is if we don't actually have boots on the ground, people just telling us the facts
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on, then how are the people actually supposed to be educated?
Yeah, and that's the thing with Don't Shoot Portland, and when we've been saying this from the beginning, like and this is a personal belief of mine as well. I don't think anything will really necessarily change nationally until things start to happen and change locally.
Absolutely.
So it's like, goes back to what you just harping on. It's like, we could talk about what's going on with the president and on a national level, but it's like, if we not taking care of our own backyard and we got our own Donald Trump running like for mayor, like in that position right now,
Yeah.
it's like, what are we doing? Like, I think that social media is a double-edged sword. Going back to what you asked with the newspapers, I think that more so it just changed how people consume media. Like, social media is the media, and people don't read past headlines.
True.
So it's like, you talking about a physical paper. I think that the wave really moved in recent years to online. So I just hope that the local media can find new like ways to just penetrate that
Oh,
that
absolutely.
cloud and get to the people and make them care again.
So, what are ways that people of color in our local community can actually go out and make a change and help?
First step is always study and educate yourself first,
Mm.
because you got to know what you're talking about before you step into those offices, into those platforms, because they will try you. They will twist reality and facts. We have a whole administration right now that's alt facts and just fake
Yep.
news, but they're creating fake news and they're not knowing what the truth and the false, all that, all false equivalencies and all that's going on. So it's like, I think that simply the first step is to get educated on the issues and to just go to a meeting, like go to like a
Mm.
city council meeting to hear what's on the agenda for the city, go to a school board meeting and see what's going on with the kids in the education system, with what policy decisions or what changes with the funds, like where's the funds being put towards, why is it being put towards that, who's voting on what, why are you voting on that, are you
Mm.
voting on the behalf of the people's interests, or are you ignoring students and teachers and parents just
Yeah.
to fulfill an agenda? that's what we need to address. That's what needs to be addressed. And I think that if we could get BSUs, if we could get just different advocates in different high schools, middle schools, and even colleges to just intersect to do some of the things I'm talking about, I think you'll start to see a new generation, a new wave of just a lot going on.
Now, what are BSUs? That's a term I haven't personally heard before. So
BSUs,
maybe.
Black Student Unions.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think actually learning all those things is like incredibly important. And like you see a lot of people going out and actually protesting, and like going out and demonstrating. But what do you think the step after the protest is?
I'm glad you asked that. When it comes to protesting, I think a lot of people get caught up in the wave, and all they see on the like social media and stuff is people holding bullhorns or people in the streets shouting whatever, and like that's kind of, excuse me, where it stops. But it doesn't stop like that. That's just when the cameras go off.
Yep.
After that, so it's like I think that protesting in the streets and rallying, that makes a lot of noise, and noise is good. But once you make a lot of noise and you got everybody's attention, that's when you drive home what you want to implement. So
Absolutely.
I think that after the protest, more organization, organize. After you educate yourself and study, organize. And that's what needs to happen after the protest, after the organization, the execution of what you just drew up with your organization or your group. That needs to be put into motion, execute. But you gotta be organized. You gotta know what you're talking about before you just run into the fire, or else you're gonna be responsible for a lot of people being caught up in a wave.
Absolutely. Are there any local politicians you feel that are actually starting to help make a change, and people that you are seeing running for office and all of those things that you are in support of?
I mean, I got my eye on Joanne Hardesty. She just got voted in the city council, so I'm really excited just to see a Black woman in that position to affect things. And I'm just keeping my eye on her to see like what she does with it. I pray for the best. As far as other politicians, I'm really, my mentor, Teresa Rayford, she's about to run for mayor. So I'm 100% behind her. If I could trust anyone, and if I wanted anyone to like be in that position, it would be Teresa, because I know her heart is with really helping our community, really helping people. Like when she's not at a meeting or she's not like organizing and not taking care of some type of thing that'll affect policy in the city, she's like attending the kids. Like she's always working with kids, with art councils and putting them in motion and getting them educated on what's going on in the country, in the city. So I really trust Teresa Rayford. That's what I would go with.
That's awesome. Now, one point that you were talking about beforehand is social media. We see in a lot of other countries, things like Twitter are used to start revolutions. But also there's, the converse point that it's so easy on social media to link to random articles and, a lot of like, I hate to use the term fake news, but that is something that exists.
That exists.
Yeah.
It's just used wrong.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. We're not talking about alternative facts here.
Right.
But do you think that social media actually helps or hurts more for the cause?
Good question. A lot of good questions. So with that, I think that that's a double-edged sword, because I don't think we would have been able to mobilize that many people that fast had it not been for Facebook, had it not been for Twitter, had it not been for Instagram. On the counter side of that, I think that with a lot of, just not here in the city, like around the country, a lot of organizations kind of like got, again, I could use this phrase, caught up in the wave. Like a lot of things, it creates inner conflict because of gossip or just people not communicating and people having their own ulterior motives of why they gotten into the organization or activism or their own agenda, and they try to shift things. So it's like, as long as we get a group of people together that have, like-minded and can have the right agenda, which, who am I to say the right agenda, but just a common agenda where we can put aside our differences and focus on this thing.
Common good.
We're good. Common good. So that's what I think,
And one thing too, it's like I hear local interviews with other activists and stuff like that, and it almost seems like a lot of people are wanting the same goal, but
Mhm.
at the same time arguing about the little differences, like you were talking about.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I sort of struggle with because that's almost human nature.
Right.
You
It
know what I
is. It
mean?
is.
Like, if someone doesn't completely agree with you, it's easy to be like, no, and push them away, but I
Mhm.
think it's incredibly important to actually unite, like you're talking
Mhm.
about, because I think we all need to find a common ground that we can get behind,
Right.
and
And
then
this is
once
this
we
is the
get
thing
into
with
power.
that what you said. It's like we can disagree.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We're not monolithic. We don't have to agree on every single thing for us to put that aside and work on this.
Yeah, and life
Like
would suck if it was like
like
that.
would be
Yeah.
what's that movie? I wish I remembered that movie. I
Mm,
think it's called The Gifted or something like that, where
mm,
the movie starts out just like in black and white, and
mm,
then as the movie progresses, they snap out of the condition that the government put them in, and then
mm,
the movie gets color.
mm,
So it's like I really parallel it with that. Like if we could just notice that they're going to use that to divide us. They're going to
mhm.
use divisive tactics and
Yep.
start little rumors or whatever to distract us with each other. And we're going to be so busy in conflict with each other that we're forgetting who the enemy is. Excuse me. We're forgetting who the enemy is. So that's something to really keep in mind and really harping on too, because that happens a lot more often than not. We get so caught up with the microcosmic things that when the macro comes into effect, we're just like in this stupor, in this daze, because we're so distracted with each other.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
is that something that you actually see like strongly affecting Portland activism?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At every point, it always becomes this reactionary, just what else? I used to call it like a pounce because it just
Mm.
used to be like you'll hear one thing and then the next time you hear it, it'll get to spun into something else. And then all of a sudden there's just a big controversy and then everyone just like pounces.
Mm.
So I think that while I get it, because if you're hearing somebody standing for one thing, but then what they're doing is contradicting that, you're going to again.
Absolutely.
But that the root of what we're fighting against.
Mm.
Like I get it, get on their head, but let's not get too distracted by this over here because while we're worried about this new policy just got changed.
Yep,
Yeah, the police
absolutely.
got cameras, but they're not letting us have access to the cameras. So
Yep.
we just got okey doke with our own idea, but it's like we're not, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to get on
Mhm.
it, but these people over here are just so caught up in this gossip and this fucked up, situation
Yeah.
that it just becomes mumble.
And one thing for me, it almost seems like the people that speak the loudest are somehow always like at the
Mhm.
forefront of all the media attention for
Mhm.
whatever group. And you can see that at the core of anything, whether it be like religion or politics or something. And typically what it seems to me is the trend seems to be is those people at the forefront always say shit that the people that actually represent that group do not agree with.
Mm.
And it's one thing for me, it's almost hard because at, on one hand you need people representing you in the media, but
Right.
like how do we deal with that?
Mhm.
Like we need, almost for me, and this is a large part of having this show,
Mhm.
is to have our own media, have
Exactly.
our own
Just saying
voices.
that from jump, you're on the right. Yeah, bro. Like we're on the same wavelength with that. When it comes to that, I'm behind you 100%. We need our own media. We This is the thing with America. I'm gonna just break it down like this. America is built on ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unfortunately, black people, we came here as quote unquote property. Like, it wasn't designed for us to own anything to begin with. So, again, the society is based on ownership. You're either an owner or you're a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that, you have to decide who are you? What are you going to be? You're going to be an owner, you're going to be somebody's property, period. Like, we have until we're able to dismantle that system. This is the system in which we operate.
Yeah.
So these are the rules. We have to rewire the programming like the Matrix, and we have
Yep.
to change the rules. And we only do that by getting in those seats to do that, to press those buttons.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me how much information there is out there today,
Hmm.
but at the same time it almost feels like people are paying less attention to it,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, with that, man, it's just like with this right here, bro. You said computer, but like we have the whole world in our hands.
it's true.
We have the whole world in our hands, yet we're focused on gossip. So it's like that comes with I think that comes from comfortability. Like people are
Mm,
too fucking comfortable.
it's true.
And I used to tell people a lot like, yo, get uncomfortable. The beginning of this shit to affect and change, you have to be mad. You don't have to be reactionary, because being reactionary isn't revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to feel something, fam, because this is not cool. Like from the border situation to police brutality to just no restitution for anything that these white supremacists do. Like, that hurts. And we carry, I don't know if anyone has read up on this, but like, we carry trauma in our DNA. Like, DNA carries
Mm-hmm.
memory. So imagine all
Yep.
the trauma that our ancestors went through. We carry that shit in our DNA. So it's like, it was never no therapy for that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we live in, again, I just want to harp in on this. We live in a situation where it's like owners and buyers, and we have to dismantle that system.
Yeah. And something that I love that you talk about is generational PTSD.
Absolutely.
And even just people that see their fucking friends get killed.
How
Whether
many
you're
gang members done seen their homies get killed? How many
Yeah.
gang members that had their cousins or their brothers or their fathers or their best friend die in front of them or got killed back in '94, and then see the person that killed? What do you think they're gonna do? So it's like, that point is never driven home. It's just, this is a thug. He was a savage. He deserved to be in prison because he committed this murder. But the root of it, what breeds this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we go back to, let's just take a historical analysis. After the Civil War, they went into owning prisons, and they went into legislation.
Yep.
When the Confederates lost the war, the racists and everything. So they went into legalizing slavery with the 13th Amendment. That's what the whole thing is about. So the root of the prison industrial complex comes out of after the Civil War and them getting into owning prisons and everything. They're just legalizing slavery. So you put all this hate in us, you put all this trauma in us through the system and everything. You make it illegal for us to read, write, we're illiterate. We can't own shit. We can't work out of this for this past hour. We can't sell anything past this power hour. The black codes, those laws.
Yep.
We come out of slavery into that, then into segregation, and you expect us just to know and just to be able to just deal with all this shit and be able to just do all of this when you just stole intergenerational wealth for so many years.
Yeah.
And so much knowledge and so much land that's really our by birthright. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just so much issues that have never been like intersected or addressed as an intersect, that I think that leads to this direct condition that we're in right now.
Very something real we can do about that. It's something that I think about almost every fucking day that aggravates me is Flint. They still don't have clean water, but how many rich people are there out there with enough money to snap their fingers and that can just go away? And on top of that, there was a movie that came out about that. If the budget of that movie had been spent on actually cleaning up Flint, getting them water, all that stuff, we wouldn't even be having this conversation about that,
I mean, it just goes back to, bro, like, look who's in power. Like, look who's running things right now. It's like, if, again, we could talk about Flint, we could talk about Puerto Rico.
Yep.
With Akon. I don't know if you know this, but Akon brought like electricity to like a lot of villages.
Oh yeah,
like,
shout out to Akon
in Africa. Yeah, so he offered to like bring electricity back to Puerto Rico within a week, but it was shot down. Like, that idea was shot down. So it's like, it's not a matter of what you can do, it's a matter of, do they want to do it? And then the question after that becomes why. And to go back to what you were talking about earlier, a lot of that is there's a psychological term for that. It's called cognitive dissonance. When something is a fact, but it doesn't go with your ideology of the world, so it can't be right.
Yeah.
We have to change that because that can't be right. That's not how I see the world. So that's how a lot of these people with wealth and power think, because you're affecting their power structure by asking them to do that. Because again, with the value of the dollar, how I understand it, I'm not an economist, but how I understand capitalism, the value of the dollar goes down as more of the people have money. So we're in a system where the more people have, the less of the value goes down. So it's like, it's designed for a few people. Yeah, a scarce amount of people to own majority of everything while keeping the other people oppressed and away from the money.
And that's the
we
thing.
See that reflected with Portland, with the gentrification, what we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
That's reflected. It's like, how many of these landlords then built all these thousands of condos that are just empty because people can't fucking afford them.
Yep.
But what if that was just put towards like affordable housing? for everybody.
Or building a school. Yeah.
Or the funding for a lot of the shit that we don't need. Like, it's a lot of just, I think that these conditions are created, and then these organizations in these in the funding to fix them is kind of just like thrown away, because these issues have been going around for like so long, but yet they're still here, and it's little like progress with that. So it's like, if we can get some new blood in the system and just like really reallocate those resources, we'll be good. I honestly believe we'll be good. But if it's not going to happen and we're just going to be on Facebook talking about how bad it is, it's like, we're just creating noise. Like, what's up? Like, let's get to it.
You know, and talking about Puerto Rico, that's something that interests me because, you know, me thinking devil's advocate, I can see how having one man have control over all the power of Puerto Rico is a dangerous situation. But on the other hand, I know that's a very small part to what was probably actually going on in their heads, which more than likely to me is probably, oh, we don't want this black man to have control over all the power in Puerto Rico, you know, and that like, and that's almost such a scary idea, you know, is that
have a white man do it.
Yeah.
No problem with white man.
Yeah.
But again, they understand the power and ownership.
Yep.
We don't get taught ownership when growing up. We get taught, as soon as you get money, you better spend that shit, because you might be dead tomorrow. You don't know what the fuck might happen tomorrow. So it's like, as soon as we get some bread, we get a couple of the racks or whatever, it's to the strip club or some chain, cars, something super materialistic that won't create residual income. Residual income. That's making money, make money for you. When wealthy people get money, they're driving Priuses, they're investing in real estate, land, financial literacy. They got taught that.
Shit, even buying art is an investment.
Jay-Z told him. Jay-Z tried to tell y'all.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's the culture difference. I don't even know if I want to call that a cultural difference. That's just a condition that was created a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's never been penetrated until, like, honestly now. I think a lot of people are snapping out of it and beginning to see how this shit set up and what the things that we've been taught. Like, just with the popular conversation of what's going on now with just random things that's going on in the entertainment industry. It's like, a lot of the shit that used to be okay and we used to turn a blind eye to ain't okay no more.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's address this shit and let's move forward.
Absolutely. And how do you think people of color can start generational wealth? Do you think it starts from that education standpoint?
Yeah, man. Like I said, we have the whole world in our hands. If you don't know if you don't know anything, just look it up on YouTube, look it up on Google, teach yourself. If you don't got the proper resources right now, because I honestly, bro, I don't read a lot of books. Like, everything I'm saying and I've learned has literally come through experience and listening and studying people, like leaders, like human rights activists and people that say things that make sense to what I believe in. I think that if people use humanity as their moral compass and judgment of how they move and their policies and everything, you can never go wrong, because you're moving in line with humanity.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of operate off of.
I try to get down to, all right, so you might think that being gay or whatever is wrong, but why?
But
why do you have that belief?
Right.
You know, does it actually stem from the religion, or is it just a cultural thing that you use the religion
But
to
even
back
that
up,
is
you know?
bullshit. Like, people always, like, listen, bro, I hate when people throw their biases on God. Like, if God got a beef with people, let them and God handle that. Like, you're allowing, and people don't even use it for an excuse to hate people. Like, you don't like them, so you gonna say God told you to do it. Like, you hear murderers do that all the time. Like, God told me to kill this person, or priests fondling little boys, and nobody says shit about that. But I bet you, if you ask them, God told me to do it. I was listening to the Lord. You're not listening to, that's your subconscious, bro. Like, get some help. That's mental illness. Like, get him checked out.
Yeah.
So,
and people misreading biblical texts, and just in text of any religion, you know, because it's so easy to take 1 or 3 lines of text and be like,
context.
oh, look at this religion. They're
out of context.
you know, I mean, because you could do that with Christianity.
You
You could
anything.
probably do that with Buddhism. You know what I mean?
You can do that with people's lives.
Yep. True. You take one
Like,
little segment of what they said.
but that we live in biblical times. Because what do people do now? We just got done talking about it. Like, people take headlines,
Yep.
and what that rings true with me. So, oh, that's the truth. It's like, hold up. Like, cite your sources. Where you get that from? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a lot of like satire sites and a lot of just fake news. Not to use that terminology, but like it's a lot out there.
Yeah.
Like I can remember when Trayvon Martin, I believe this was with Mike Brown. When Mike Brown was killed, Gateway Pundit, that's a conservative media outlet. They were like, I think they were like the first to report that he had hit the cop in the eye, and the cop had like a fractured eye. Darren Wilson had like a fractured eye, and he really messed him up. And it's like the pictures came out, and it's like nothing.
Yep.
But Fox News picked it up. That was ran as facts. That was fake news.
Yep.
So it's like it's a lot of conservative outlets out there that also they want to say they have a liberal bias, the media has a liberal bias, but it's like when you visit some of these conservative sites, some of that shit is bullshit. It's like made up news. It's like made up bullshit. But then you project it, you report it, and you got these thousands of people believing you. And now they believe in you so blindly to the fact they hang on to your every word, because no matter what, you're pushing their agenda.
Yeah.
So, hey, cognitive dissonance.
Absolutely. And I think one thing too, it's also like on both sides of the fence, no matter where
absolutely.
you are, there are things, and one thing that I am very careful of is when I back a politician or I vote for somebody, or even if I just am in conversation, going to be behind them, I look into actually what they're saying,
Right.
Because it's really easy. Somebody will throw out a meme or they'll throw out some cultural reference, and suddenly all millennials and Gen Zs will be like, "Oh, I'm behind them," because they got. But it's like, all right, let's calm down and let's actually discuss what they're saying in their speeches, and what actually policy changes have they made in the past in other positions of power that they've been in, because it's so easy to like jump on a bandwagon for somebody that seems cool and seems whatever, but I think it's time for us to actually start, figuring out if we want to back these people, and if we don't, then let's get our fucking selves in there.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with ego. People just don't want to admit when they're wrong. And it's like, fam, like, I've been wrong before. I'm cool with being corrected. I'm cool with, like, I've been on camera and said some false shit, and I found out later, I'm like, bro, like, my bad. Like, I referred to Ted Wheeler as the mayor who was in there when it was Charlie Hales who sicked the police on activists at City Hall after they had given them tickets to come speak on a vote for like a police contract deal. So they gave people tickets to come. They get there, the fucking the City Hall is filled with like police, like right, like the whole shit is just, this is a public area. Like, why is all these police here? As soon as the vote goes down, they just start just pushing people out. Like, people got stepped on. Somebody could have broke their neck. They pushed people like off like marble stairs. They trampling people, spraying kids and elderly with mace. It was just like a lot of bullshit that went on with Charlie Hales. But I mean, I've been wrong. Like, I thought that Beto O'Rourke was somebody looking like, okay, he's saying the right things. He looks like he's with it, with the progressive agenda. He's looking like he's on our side. As far as like black people and brown people. But then when you do a little more research, I think that more so paying attention to what people say, pay attention to what they do. Like, pay attention to their voting record. That's the catch with the voting record. Or pay attention who backs them.
Oh yeah, who's actually giving them the money?
Giving them the money.
Because that's who they're
why
accountable to.
Exactly, bro. Like, follow the money. So it's like he was getting money or invested something into the oil companies. He was getting like PAC money from oil companies. So it's like, you're not really with getting finances out of politics. And I think that's at the root of a lot of evil in the country, because these people can just lobby and have these donors can have the politicians in their back pocket. So what are you going to do if you don't have the money speech now, right? So it's what they're trying to say, money is speech now, right? So it's like, you don't have a voice if you're poor. What does that say about how you feel about poor people? You don't have a voice, so you can't even come in. A lot of stuff to rewire, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think are the first steps to actually build defenses against police brutality?
Man, the first fence is the criminal justice reform, but even before that, like, we got to get the right people in there, because we can come up with all these solutions and all these policy ideas and everything, but if there's nobody to actually pass them through,
True.
it's just like, fuck, we're just gonna fall flat on our faces.
Yeah.
And it could be enough people to vote for it, but we have people that are just carrying an agenda and just gonna veto or just kill the bill when it gets to the Senate or House. It's like, we can affect things locally though.
True.
So that's where I'm at with that, man.
So do you think the police acting out in the Charlie Hale situation is illegal?
With that, they were definitely denying people ambulances. I don't, off the top of my head, off the cuff, I don't know if that's illegal, but that sounds pretty illegal to me. Telling people, inviting people in, and then telling them they can speak on an issue and then beating them, but then telling people that they're trespassing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's illegal, but it's fucking wrong. And when it comes to that right there, when it comes to legality and criminality, we're not saying that necessarily Mike Brown, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
or someone in one of these cases, what they did was 100% right or
Mm-hmm.
was not criminal, but did they deserve to die?
Yeah.
Like, did they deserve to be killed in cold blood with no remorse or recourse for your actions?
Absolutely.
What message are you sending to young black kids or young kids in poverty, really, because it affects people in poverty? Your life does not matter. So how can you say all lives matter if black lives don't?
Mm-hmm.
We're telling you. So it's like, when it comes to that, bro, I just really want to make sure I'm articulating this. If you do something wrong and you're whatever, criminal, whatever, don't let them, they're literally like criminalizing people in death, but the people that kill
Mm-hmm.
people in cold blood are like getting millions of dollars in funding and stuff.
they're
It's like,
becoming
how
heroes.
many
Yeah.
how many videos of dead black people, children, women, men do I have to scroll down my timeline until something happens? But then you see how they deal with white people. It's totally different. We're always
Mm-hmm.
told to not resist arrest. When resisting arrest is maybe just flinching from me getting kicked in the stomach. Like, we're told to stay still, don't talk back to police, don't use no weapons against the police, don't strike back, whatever, don't defend yourself. But if you just YouTube videos of white people's interactions with police, people are spitting on police, people are aiming guns at police, people are fucking police up. They never draw a weapon, they never kill them.
Yeah.
So again, like, it's the conditioning, it's the programming. We need to rewire all that shit.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, it's like something that I think about, like, well, maybe that thing isn't illegal in that situation, but
Mhm.
also, too, like, just from a moral standpoint like that, like,
Mhm.
what ground do we want to be on? Because at a certain point, like, laws are probably and are very much in a different direction than we
Mhm.
want them, you know, but we can't just end it at that. We got to actually look like shit. Genocide was
Yeah.
legal in a lot of
but
countries, and that's why
this
they
is
let
what
it
I
happen.
wanted to say. With that, everything that's ever been done to us has been legal.
Yep.
Slavery was legal.
Yeah.
The Holocaust, I believe that was legal in Germany law.
Yeah. It
Like,
was.
all this shit, from segregation. Segregation was legal. The drug war was legal, even though it targets us. Like,
Yeah. Lynching was made illegal just last year.
lynching was just made illegal, what, 2017, 2018?
Yeah. And there are a lot of states that just made slavery illegal, like in their state laws.
Mississippi
Yep.
just elected that woman who said she wants to bring back public hangings in Mississippi. She got elected. So
Yeah.
there's change, but a lot of the stuff still remains the same. So that's when it
Yeah.
comes to, like, it's not a matter of legality or not. Is it just?
Absolutely.
So that goes back to that moral compass of humanity. Is it just? Because a lot of the shit I believe that Jesus did in the Bible
Was illegal.
was illegal.
Yep. And that's why he got crucified. And
He
that's
was an activist. He went against the government. He
Yep.
was in the streets talking
Yep.
with the people, saying, "Hey, I ain't gonna judge you, but if you come this way, I know the light." So it's like, "Hey, I got you."
And that's the interesting
So-
thing to me is a lot of people that were conformed to a certain belief won't actually hold those
Mhm.
conforming beliefs not only to themselves but also their text. texts. You know, if a lot more people realize that figures like Jesus were actually rebels, you know, those were people going against the grain and they got
Jesus
killed.
was a rebel.
Exactly. And they became martyrs because they actually strongly believed in something so much that they were willing to die for it. You know, when you actually think through that, regardless of, you know, I'm not Christian, but I can still get behind that. I can get behind a piece of, you know, message and love like that. That's amazing. Who can't get behind that?
Yeah. If you don't go off of anything in the Bible, it says in the Bible, God is love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything you doing outside of that, that's the devil, bro. That's whatever negative entity you want to subscribe that to, but that ain't God.
Yep.
So it's like, even with the Bible, I mean, we don't have to have a religious conversation, but that has been edited plenty of times to fit agendas. So it's whether Jesus was real or not, I don't think is important. I think that the example that was set in the character himself is very important. Whether he's real or not, y'all can have that debate all day. But when it comes to what you stand for, that's a good example.
I always enjoy having great conversations and actually have some substance, so I greatly appreciate that, and I want to thank you. Let's take a little time to plug our social media. That way people can reach out to you if they want to get in contact about activism or all that stuff. As always, my name is R.E.B.E.L. You can find me at Arii.Grove on Instagram, social media, all that good stuff. Please reach out to me. Literally, my phone number's on there. You want to call me, you can fucking call me.
Get at him. My name is Glen Waco. All my social media is at Glen Waco. You can reach me on there or email me glen.waco@gmail.com. I am available. Love.
Thank you.